Okay, welcome to Morgana Marie's Place, and I'm going to do another prepare video here, very simplified basics. I wanted to show some things that I found at the Dollar Tree that would be good for your medical stock-up. One of the things I found obviously are Q-tips, and you all know how to use a Q-tip, but it might be something that you may take for granted that you might not say, oh, I need to stock up on those. So that's why I'm showing you some of these things. They also have this bag of cotton balls at the Dollar Tree, which is a really good deal. So if you can stock up on these are good for cleaning out wounds, cleaning your face, just all kinds of stuff. You know, if you're wanting to keep things really, like if you want to keep everything extremely clean in your house, Q-tips and cotton balls are great for those little tiny spaces, you know, that you have trouble cleaning. I also found waterproof bandages at the Dollar Tree. There's 25 of them in here, and along with, let me go over both of these. Waterproof foam tape. So if you have to make a bandage, it's always better to have the waterproof stuff for your stock up. It might not be something you want to use every day, but you know, if you're in water a lot, you don't want to go through as many bandages when you're stocking up. So if you need to do dishes a lot, which I recommend rubber gloves, which you can also get at the Dollar Tree. If you're disinfecting a lot, which is, you know, what I do is have one set of rubber gloves for dishes and another set for cleaning. But because it will stay on in the water, it's probably a better use than just regular Band-Aids for your stock-up kit. They also had this big 32-ounce peroxide at the Dollar Tree, which was really great because peroxide is great for cleaning out your wounds and, you know, getting rid of infections from a cut. You know, in a dire emergency situation, you might not be able to get to a doctor. So it's good to have your own medical needs be able to met to a certain extent. So peroxide's a good thing to have if you have, you know, especially if you have small kids and they fall down or running through the house and they trip or whatever, then you can keep them, their cuts clean. Also, they have this 100% natural witch hazel at Dollar Tree. I didn't just buy this, but I did buy it from the Dollar Tree, and I wipe off my face before I put my makeup on. That's what I use it for, but I looked it up online here. Clean your skin, and it fights inflammation also in cuts, so you could clean out your cuts with it as well. And then I have these turmeric capsules. Now this has 12 capsules, and there's only 4 servings per container, so you're supposed to take 3 at a time. Excuse me, I take 2. I get more servings, so, but do whatever you want. It is a really good dietary supplement. Maybe they're not the best supplements from Dollar Tree, but it is something affordable, and at least you have something. Okay, so turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. It does keep your heart healthy. It is an antioxidant, and there are lots of other uses for it as well, but I'm just thinking of the staying healthy during this period that we're going through. Another thing is turmeric is a root, and I always made a root broth before and during cold season. And what I would do is I would go to the grocery store and buy root vegetables. Now, a lot of people know about the carrots, potatoes, and onions, but I would go to the section where you really couldn't pronounce all the words of the roots. So some of the things I would get was parsnip, rutabaga, Jerusalem artichoke, celery root, turnips. I think it's pronounced daikon, Daikon, and roots like that, and whatever I could afford, and how many depended on how big of a broth I was doing. So I had 10 kids, so usually it was a few. And then I would take the outer layer off the skin and chop it up into pieces, and then I would just chunks, because you're not going to eat the actual root. And then I would boil it in water for hours. If you have a crock pot that you can spare for hours, it's probably better in there. You don't have to stay with it as long, unless it's on, as you would on the stove. Skim off the residue on the top every so often. Add more water if you need to, but boil it for several hours. In a crock pot, you could even put it on low for overnight, cooking. And then I would strain the broth, put it in a jar in the refrigerator, and my kids would heat it up and eat it as a tea or drink it, but you know what I mean. And I put a little bit of salt in there to sweeten it up, and they would drink it as a tea during flu season, and it helped keep their health better. Turmeric is a root, so you can get those sometimes at the in your fresh food section. Just skin them and do the same thing. They're just little tiny things, but they're really going to help. And also using the turmeric powder in your cooking is really good as well to help. So there's a few ideas for turmeric. Off the subject of medical things, I also found this at Dollar Tree, and it's this little tiny sewing kit. And it says here it has a tape measure, safety pins, straight pins, a thimble, 6 thread spools. If you don't know what that is, it's 6 little spools of thread, assorted buttons, a needle threader, and a needle compact. Now, let me get this apart here. They have it sealed just so wonderful. Okay, let's see what else in here. I haven't even opened it yet. I just needed the needle threader because my eyes aren't good enough to see through the needle anymore. But here's all your pins and extra buttons that they're going to have on there. And your spools of thread. You've got some like black, and let me see if I can get them all up to the thing here. Just got main colors, of the thread. Let me see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it here or not. I'm on my bed trying to do this because it's getting chilly on my porch. Let's see. I can't get it. Okay, so there's like green and red, black, and blue, gray, and white. Okay. Then you have all of these little needles. Now, it's Dollar Tree, so the needles aren't going to be as sharp. But what you can do is, if you have any sand for crafting at from the Dollar Tree, you can make a little, take a piece of fabric, put some sand in it, and sew it tight, and then you can sharpen your needles in the sand. Okay? It does have this little tiny piece of little tiny scissors. I'm not sure how good they are. Buy another pair. They have Dollar Tree scissors. I buy that. They have this tape measure. For emergency use. It is paper, though, and they don't cost very much at like Dollar General to get one. This is kind of a beginner, last minute. I didn't think that I would need to, get something to sew on buttons or sew up a tear in my blouse or whatever, my pants. Get this. And then they have this little thimble. Here, you can't see. It's like really tiny. Yeah, the thing I bought it for is this little threader that goes through the eye of the needle, and then when it's through the eye, you put the thread through here and then pull it through. Okay. for us older folks that can't see the hole anymore. So, so yeah, you get all that, just for $1, and it'll help keep your buttons on. If your child falls and tears up their clothes, you can just do a small straight stitch, and stuff like that. So that's what I have from my Dollar Tree today. But I thought it might help. There's little things here and there that you can pick up. I've got ready for emergencies. Like I said, in my other video, I did it all summer when my kids were growing up. So there was canning, I had medical supplies. I studied to be a natural healing doctor, so I had an extensive array of medicinal things in my house anyway. Although I agreed with modern medicine too. My kids had a pediatrician. My son had diabetes, so he had an endocrinologist. I worked with doctors with modern medicine because I think both of them are good. If my kids had an emergency in the middle of the night, they went to the emergency room like every other kid. My kids had shots. We moved to Illinois when my kids were young. I had just had my third kid. And we moved to Illinois when the Mississippi River flooded that year. I mean, this has been years and years ago. Houses were going down the Mississippi River. And, well, that's when we decided that we should move to East Alton, which is right across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. And the Army was bringing water to us and stuff. And I had gotten a hold of a doctor there. I interviewed her, and because I didn't know it was coming through the water, and I got all my kids caught up on their shots. We waited basically until they were 2 so they could fight off infections on their own. I do not recommend you do you. Okay, that's you. But that's what we decided to do. So, but only one of my children was at the age where we normally would have started her vaccinations. But in that particular catastrophe, we got all of them up to date, and we kept them up to date because we lived in East Alton for quite a while, and the water that was coming through our faucet was not good. I mean, I could fill, even a few years after this happened, when I would fill the bathtub for my kids, it looked like it was blue, like a chlorinated pool. That was what was coming out of our faucet. And one night I turned on the faucet and you could actually see little particles of sand coming through the water in the faucet. So we had filters. But yeah, we had regular visits to the doctor. I think because my doctor was, I think at some points was a little sick of seeing me in her office. But I was like, okay, let's be sure here the kids are okay. But I was one of those moms. But yeah, so be careful, take care of your health, and take the precautions that people are telling you to take, no matter what you believe right now as far as the seriousness of the virus or whatever. You still have to be prepared, and this will help you be prepared for other things, like I said, even just a snowstorm or a flood. So have a great night. I hope this helps, and I love you guys.